Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and welcome to the second preview episode for Burnley versus Liverpool. This is the separate video that I'm doing with a bit more detail, obviously because it's containing Liverpool. Now let's kick things off with how we can look at how we did last week. Now last week obviously we had Arsenal, we won 4-3. Obviously, most of it is edge of the seat, nail-biting, friggin' twitching arse like a rabbit's nose type of stuff. At the end of the day, we still got the win, but it also wasn't the most impressive in terms of defence. Now, obviously moving forward, or going forward I should say, we looked very, very good. Mane, Firmino, Coutinho were linking very well in the second half. Coutinho and that were pretty anonymous in the first half and such like, but once it broke into the second half, it was very, very good. It's making sure that we take that second half performance and actually start doing it at the beginning. That's where we need. If we can do that for a full 90 minutes, we could really do some damage on quite a few teams. The likes of Wijnaldum had a pretty good game. Lallana had a good game. Klavan in defence was arguably, I wouldn't even say arguably actually, he was probably our best defender against Arsenal, despite the fact that we went to 4-3. It looked pretty solid. We obviously still have Sacco and that to come back as well. Obviously the likes of Gomez and such like that. But I think this week as well, I think the biggest change that will happen will be at left back, and it'll be James Milner coming in. That is what is rumoured to happen, and I think I would like that to happen, not only because I've been a bit disappointed and I'm wary of Moreno's performances. I just think that Milner is going to be a bit more better suited to this style of game against the likes of Burnley. So obviously we have some news in terms of Liverpool, in terms of the fact that Sadio Mane will most likely be sitting out this game, which is disappointing because he was clearly our best player next to Coutinho, or in fact probably level with Coutinho on the run of play over the full 90 minutes. He was absolutely electric. He was everywhere. He was trying to do everything and he was doing very well at it. And it will be a big miss to not have him in this game. Now, what do we do in terms of Sadio Mane being out of the team? Well, there's a couple of options. Let me run you through them. The first option that you've got is just bring in Lazar Markovic and give him a shot against someone like Burnley, who, no offence to Burnley, they're not necessarily going to be the most threatening team to us, even though they've got the likes of Andre Gray, who didn't look good in his first Premier League game against Swansea. He was very subdued in that very first game, but he may break out. Look at what he did in the Championship. There's always that threat. But I would always say, maybe going back to my point, Markovic would be this could be one of his last chances if he is thrown into that spotlight, taking obviously what Mane has done, and can he do the same? Can he do similar? Even if he's just below what Sadio Mane did, I'd be pretty happy with that. But if he's far below, I imagine that would be the end of Lazar Markovic. Other options obviously include the likes of Daniel Sturridge and Divock Origi. Now that obviously also plays into how are they going to settle formation-wise, because you can't, if you play Sturridge on the wing, he hates being played on the wing and he doesn't play his best football on the wing anymore. He doesn't have that same snap of pace right now because he's still not at match fitness and such like that. He just doesn't have that snap of pace that I was talking about. He just doesn't have that anymore. Could be better suited to have someone like Divock Origi coming in. Obviously, we're going to have Christian Benteke departing us, I believe. I think it's meant to be confirmed tomorrow. He won't be playing for Palace at that point. But anyway, so we're going to have to look at the likes of even maybe Danny Ings. Danny Ings coming up against his former club, Burnley. He scored a lot of goals for Burnley. Maybe give Danny Ings a shot. There's quite a lot of options. I'm not entirely sure which way they would go. For me, if I was going to choose personally, I would go for Divock Origi, because I think Origi's got a very good chance of leading that line against Burnley, doing some very good. He could do quite some damage against Burnley, considering how they lost against Swansea last week without really threatening themselves that much. I think that could be a good call. Maybe this could be the thing where, I know Klopp had a quote somewhere saying we could always go with two up top. We're not restricted to just having one. Maybe it could be time to try it. If Sturridge is fit, how about we start like Sturridge and Origi, see how they pair together. Sturridge and Firmino and Origi, whoever. Maybe Firmino drops back into a number 10. There's so many options. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that we'll have whatever setup that we do, we'll be able to cause a lot of damage against Burnley. Now for Burnley, there obviously isn't a great deal of positives when it comes to Liverpool in recent times, because I believe the stat that I read from Sky Sports was that Burnley, in the last 4 meetings in the Premier League with Liverpool, they haven't actually scored a goal against us. So that obviously goes in our favour. But it's always, you take every performance as an individual performance as it is. You can group all these types of performances all together, but at the end of the day, it's the individual performance. They could come through and they could do what Hull did to Leicester. You never know what could happen in the Premier League, and that's why it's one of the most exciting leagues in the world, if not the most exciting league in the world. They could pull off something like that. I would find it very doubtful that they would, and the reasons for that is, while we looked obviously very, very shaky at the back, I'd believe having Milner at left back, along with Klavan, Lovren and Klein in that back four, I think that's going to solidify that back four and protect Mignolet, because that fucker needs all the protection that he can get. Jesus Christ. He's a good penalty saver, I'm not knocking him for that, but Christ on a bike, he just does not command he doesn't command a penalty area, and it's why I'm very pleased with the news that I recently read this evening. From 90minutes.com or something just came through saying that Karius is well on his way, getting back through into training, and he could be back in very early September, which is happy days for all of us lot, isn't it? You know, it'd be very good to have him back as soon as possible. The other reason why Burnley I don't think will have much joy against us is I still think it's going to take a bit of time for Burnley to actually settle into the Premier League again. They could. I'm not saying they won't score against us. In fact, my prediction will tell that as well when I get to that as well. But I think they are capable of scoring goals. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time of actually settling into Premier League, coming up against top opposition all the time. They may have to do what a few of the clubs do when they get promoted, and they'll have to go against one of their relegation rivals or ones that are billed to be relegation rivals, come up against those, have a good game, and then build confidence from there. That could be what happens. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through my predicted starting lineup. Obviously, you've got to have, it's going to be Mignolet in goal. It's going to be, in my opinion, Klavan, Lovren, because we don't have any of the centre backs at the moment. I think Lucas is close to coming back, and Sacco is close to coming back, but not just yet. Milner is pretty much confirmed he's going to be left back, even after all the protection that Klopp has done for Moreno this week. You're going to have Klein at right back. Now, my opinion moving forward here, instead of Henderson, I think we're going to have Emre Can in midfield. I think it's going to be a good game to get Emre Can in. Wijnaldum on the left midfield as well. This is if we go with that 4-3-3 sort of formation that we had in the previous match. I don't see why Lallana wouldn't get started, because he had a good game against Arsenal. He pressed and he pressed and he pressed. He showed pace I didn't know he had. Little tricks and flicks. Set up, played in some very good goals. Helped in the setup of some goals as well, and scored one himself. There's no reason for me why he shouldn't get another start. Now, looking along that front line, I've talked about it already. The one that's going to be missing, obviously, at the moment, it's not confirmed, but that Mane could be missing for this game due to his little shoulder injury. Could be back for net the week after. Now, you're looking at either Markovic or changing how that front line works. I would go with Markovic. I have a bit of a... I just think that if something like this happens again, then we don't really have cover on a wing who has similar sort of pace and creativity. And he is a creative player. If he gets given the chances, he is a creative player. And I think that it would be very fair for Markovic to get a shot. I would put Markovic there. I would probably have, in my opinion, I would go Coutinho back out on the left, and I would try. I would want to be trying Origi and bring Sturridge on at 60 or 70 minutes or something like that, depending on how the game has gone. Now, in terms of a score prediction, Burnley haven't scored against us. They've got different strikers now, so I mean they've got a different strike force, different players. But at the end of the day, I'm basically hoping for quite a lot. I think we scored a lot of goals against Arsenal. Even if it was a depleted squad for Arsenal, we still scored 4 goals, conceded 3. Hopefully we don't concede as many or any goals, which is why I am going for a 3-1 prediction. I do believe that Burnley will get a goal against us, but I believe it'll be a pretty comfortable win overall for Liverpool. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on the video. That would be very much appreciated so much. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts about everything that I've been talking about so far tonight? Do you agree with me? Do you think that Liverpool are going to win? Do you think Burnley are going to come out, maybe do a Hull like they did against Leicester? Anything is possible in the Premier League, as we all know. We would never have foreseen the fall of Chelsea last year, but it happened. Anything can happen, and we obviously have never seen Leicester win the league until last year. Anything can happen. So please drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new around here, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be doing reviews. Most likely I'll do the Liverpool review on Sunday, and then the rest of the Premier League, that'll come out on Monday. So stay tuned for those ones. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you later. Thanks for watching.